European Pharmaceutical Students Association is an umbrella organization of all European Pharmaceutical Students Associations representing more than 100,000 students in 37 European countries. EPSA conducts its activities through regular congresses, training events, publications, exchange programs, campaigns, collaboration with professional organizations, and virtual presence. Mrs. Chiora is the IT coordinator of EPSA for 2020 to 2021. Mrs. Chiora, I give the floor to you.
Thank you. As you already mentioned, the goal of EPSA is basically on its most simple level to bring pharmacy knowledge and students together, as our motto always says. And for that, I would like to start firstly by giving you a very short overview of basically how EPSA evolved over time. So we were established in 1978 by certain pharmaceutical associations that were working on a national level and wanted to do something more together to basically bridge the effects that we could all be receiving from the European Union and Europe in general as pharmaceutical students. In 2013, we started being based in Brussels, Belgium, where we also have the EPSA house, and up to 2020 and even now 2021, continuing that we still represent European pharmaceutical students and their interests. We are basically based all along Europe by having up to 100,000 pharmaceutical students represented, and basically being up to 37 countries at the moment and still growing and still representing those member associations. At the moment, EPSA has 42 members out of those 37 countries. And of course, that is an effort that is continuing and growing by incorporating more pharmaceutical students association across Europe and getting more members. And these are actually the countries that we are based on, the 37 ones up to the moment. The mission of EPSA is basically to actively engage the students and also in the professional level by bringing pharmacy knowledge and students together and also promoting their personal development. That's the most expanded version of the mission that I already mentioned. And yeah, the structure that we currently have is based on this. Everything starts from the General Assembly, which appoints the EPSA team. And the General Assembly is basically it's basically structured out of the member associations, which they send their liaison secretaries into the General Assembly. And they also have the national IMP coordinators, coordinated by the central IMP coordinator. From the General Assembly, the EPSA team is appointed, which is the executive that you can see here and all the different positions, which are basically positions that, along with their relevant coordinators that you can see below them, the ones that basically bring all of the little pieces, all of the different portfolios that EPSA works on, for example, the public relations or education, external relations, etc. And we will, of course, take a look closer to them after that. And along with those, we also have the alumni, which are previous members of the EPSA teams or previous trainers or other people that basically have played an important role in the association in the past. And also the trainers, which are responsible for the soft skills development of all members of EPSA. And of course, everything is coordinated and kept up to standard by the Parliamentary Council and Audit Committee of the EPSA. So without, let's say, spending more time into the structure, which of course you can also learn more about later on in the questions or in general, I would like to start by getting more into the projects and activities that we have and what EPSA is all about after all. And these would be events, alumni, education, public relations, mobility, and advocacy. And by getting more into that, let's start with the EPSA events. The three, let's say, most known and most common EPSA events are the annual Congress, the Autumn Assembly, and the Summer University. As far as annual Congress goes, we have more than 1,000 European pharmaceutical students attending the different EPSA events, and not only the Congress, but also the Assembly and the Summer University, and that happens throughout the year. We also have an educational program in all of them, which is basically saved in order to fulfill the needs of the pharmaceutical students, the ones that are actually attending those events and what these events are all about. And during those, we have basically different kinds of content, different kinds of educational, let's say, opportunities, such as symposia, workshops, trainings, the public health campaigns that also run at the Science Day, and also after the events, we publish the educational outcomes of each of the events so that they are accessible to the people that didn't even manage to attend or want to take a closer look to them after the event. Along those, we also have the General Assemblies, which are held twice a year. This is the highest decision-making body of EPSA, and it's also how the elections happen for all the different positions we already saw. And also we have the event of excellence, as we call it, of EPSA, which is the annual reception. This happens once a year, usually in the beginning of the year. This one is held in Brussels, and basically it includes a side program along with the main content, which usually we try to keep up to the current and most, let's say, relevant subjects of pharmacy each year in terms of what happens in Europe. And along with that, we had, as I said, the side program, the trainings, and also certain science excursions, given that everything happens in Brussels. And it's held in the actual space of European Parliament, which also brings the event into a more, let's say, elevated space according to its needs. Other than that, we also provide certain opportunities for our alumni to engage with the current members of the network, and this way basically to bridging the gap between the generations, to keeping all the generations close to each other. And that happens through the alumni platform, the alumni weekend, as well as through the alumni advisory board, which supports the current structure and the current members of EPSA, and also the alumni newsletter that basically keeps the alumni informed and up to date with everything that is happening now. Moving on also to the educational part, this is basically broken down to the educational program of the EPSA event and the educational outcomes that happen after the event, for the event. And also we have the EPSA events and educational calendar, where everyone can basically see what are the new EPSA events, what is happening throughout the year, and what educational opportunities also are provided by EPSA. And of course, along with that, we also have online activities, as we are basically a Europe-wide association, and not always traveling still needs to basically provide an opportunity for the members that cannot always travel there in the actual event. By this way, increasing also what we can give and what we can provide to our members. So getting a closer look into that, the first one would be the methodology booklet, which is coordinated by our educational department. And this has to do with the educational opportunities provided to pharmaceutical students along Europe, and basically assesses the methodologies used for their teaching and education. We also have LEAP, which is the lifelong learning platform, which now also includes certain courses in terms of pharmacy. And along with that, also a way to evaluate the different pharmaceutical events that people have attended. This way, by this way, earning badges and basically showing the work that they have done in their profession as students even. We also have the public health and social services area, where basically we try to have also a more humanitarian approach to what is happening, and also to promote the different opportunities and the different, let's say, topics that fall under public health through those kinds of campaigns. And finally, we also have the training project, which is basically the coordination of all the EPSA trainers in order to provide the highest level of soft skills that are useful for a pharmacy student, and with that also for future pharmacists as well. And we, under the educational portfolio, we also have the EPSA Students Science publication, bringing the publications of science also of our students, of our members, into the spotlight via this. We have the EPSA Science Day, a day devoted in the pharmaceutical science, which also happens annually. And the Science Monthly publication, which brings all the relevant topics of pharmaceutical science into a concrete and concise publication available for all pharmaceutical students and all our members. And finally, the Science Excursion, in which we visit different let's say, areas or different facilities that are relevant to pharmaceutical students. So for example, labs or even museums relevant to pharmacy. And we try to keep those diverse to see all the different facets of pharmacy. Moving on to the public relations department and also my own, the main things there would be the newsletter and also the activity booklet, which we will see further on. We also have the EPSA website, which you can visit and get all the relevant to EPSA information, all general information, what is happening there. We have the monthly dose, which is basically a monthly update of what is happening to EPSA, and you can get those, this one by subscribing into it. And also the EPSA blog, which is more oriented about news, and it includes articles from our members, from the EPSA teams, and also the EPSA team, and also externals, and basically also showcases what EPSA has been working on. We also are pretty active over social media, and you can, of course, at any moment reach out to us there. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and also in LinkedIn. Moving on also to the external department and what we do outside also from our own members associations and the outside of our own organization. We basically try to have different kinds of collaborations, and this one starts by mobility, by having the individual mobility project, providing opportunities to pharmaceutical students basically to move across Europe and have certain professional or educational opportunities in some of the EPSA partners and work for them for a while. We also have the Twinit project, which basically brings different members associations closer together by twinning them. And finally, we have the Students Guide, which you can access over our website, which provides a closer look into what a pharmaceutical student may need and how they can use all the opportunities that they can get professionally. And along with those, also in the external department, we have some projects like the Chat with Professionals, where we organize throughout the year. This is a series of webinars where basically, which are basically held with different pharmaceutical professionals from all over the spectrum of pharmaceutical science. We have the career page, which is also accessible through our website. And you can also take a look into it and basically the career opportunities that a pharmacy student may have, or a new pharmacist, as we evolve from pharmacy students to new pharmacists, and all the toolkits, let's say, that they would need in order for that professional development to happen. And along with that, we also have the Career Week, a week devoted into, let's say, those different career opportunities, as well as the career fair that usually happens during our events. So here, for example, is a photo of the annual Congress 2018 and the career fair that happened there, where stands from different, let's say, stakeholders in the pharmaceutical industry and all its aspects are held there and able to be visited by the students. And finally, we also have the mentoring project, which is a long-standing one, where pharmaceutical students from our members associations can apply in order to get mentored into one of the fields of their interest in terms of pharmacy, and work together with their mentor, which is usually a well-known and also pretty experienced pharmaceutical professional, to develop a project with them throughout the year, which they are also then having the opportunity to present and be able to work on later on. In terms of advocacy, we basically try to collaborate also with other stakeholders in the field. We usually advocate about IPE, the e-health and digitalization, mobility, the professional qualifications directive as well. One of our tools that already mentioned and plays a significant role in advocacy is the methodology booklet. Vaccination and AMR also take an important role in the positions that EPSA holds in terms of advocacy. And finally, on more general and broad topics as sustainability, mental health, and human rights, this is also areas of our interest, and we want to advocate about their best, let's say, involvement over time in Europe. And here you can also see some examples of this kind of advocacy. We had the survey for vaccinations in the pharmaceutical curricula. We had also the survey and the survey report, which also happened along with the European Students Network about the obstacles in student mobility. And we also have gotten the third prize in the European Union Health Awards for NGOs in 2017. By this advocacy of ours. And finally, I wouldn't be able to close this presentation without also mentioning the EPSA partners, the people that support and collaborate with us throughout time. I would start with the ones that we work with in the internship level. We have certain Brussels-based EPSA internships, which are basically conducted by the EPSA team members. And these are also the EPSA interns that you can see for this year, working with AESGP, with FPA, PGEU, and also for Medicines for Europe. We also have certain professional partners that support us in terms of what is happening in the professional level in the pharmaceutical field, and collaborate us with that to connect the student level with the professional level. And those are the ones you can see here. And so other external collaborations that are happening are also with TOPRA, with GPIE, IEPG, with KIRP, UFEPS, ESCP, and EAFP. We also try to collaborate with different student NGOs, not only professional ones, as they also face similar situations as we do as pharmaceutical students, and those would be ESN, EMSA, ETSA, the Dental Students Association, EFSA, the Federation of Psychology Students Associations, ENSA, ELSA, the IPSF, which is the International Pharmaceutical Students Federation. We have also collaboration with JADE and IFISO, the Informal Student for International Students Association, the European Students Union, and of course STM. And along with that, we also have corporate partners that support our events and also all of our endeavors, both financially and also on a knowledge and development level. And those would be MSD, Swisscare, Euromed Communication and VRS, as well as FarmiWeb and Simplivia. And I think that would be it. Of course, if you would like to have any questions or get more into all of the things that I've showed you, feel free to go ahead with the questions.